Good morning, my friend. Welcome to another episode of the Dinner Made Easy show, where I try to make dinner easier by teaching you different cooking strategies and methods, giving you ideas and inspiration for dinner at your house. And for today, we are going to be talking all about holiday dinners. And I've made it no secret that I'm not a huge fan of turkey. I know we just finished the turkey holiday, but beef roast is a fantastic option for an alternative for your holiday meal. So today we are going to be doing a budget gourmet chive crusted beef roast that can actually be cooked three ways. And I'm going to actually make it in the slow cooker. You can see I have it right here. Making this in the slow cooker, but you can also do it in the oven as just like a regular kind of roast. You can also do it in the Instant Pot, and I will explain all three of those cooking methods as we go along. So stick around. It's super simple to put together. It's a little bit of some chives and some herbs or spices mixed together, pressed right on top of the roast. For the slow cooker version, I'm not going to brown it because the slow cooker does a really fabulous job of tenderizing the beef, so it doesn't need to be browned. You, of course, could brown it in a skillet if you wanted to before you put it into the slow cooker or the Instant Pot. I would recommend browning before you roast if you're going to roast in the oven. The recipe is here on the video, and I don't know how to put the comments on here. All the time I'm changing the production setup and I don't know how to put the comments on. So let's jump into cooking. So the first thing that we're going to do is mix up the chives that's going to go onto the top. So I have 2 packets of chives here. One is for the beef roast that's going to go directly onto the beef. The other we're going to make what is basically a sour cream gravy, if you will. It's sort of like it's pourable. We're going to make a sour cream plus milk, sort of a pourable gravy. Super affordable ingredients: garlic, horseradish, sour cream, and milk. Super simple with the chives. Obviously, the most expensive part of this is going to be the beef, right? So I know beef prices are going up. We talked a lot about grocery price inflation. I shared a podcast and a video here on the page in the last week, so you can check those out for some ideas. Beef prices are just going to be up. We have to work hard to adjust our grocery budgets. I talked about it on another video. I'm not going to get into that. Okay, so we need to run our knife or pizza wheel through this. Pizza wheel is great if you want to just quickly chop through, you can do that. That's a fun little hack. Of course, you can just run your knife, through there as well. Depends on how you want to do it. If you have kiddos who want to be helping in the kitchen, you could have them using the pizza wheel if they're not super adept with a knife, but this is what we're after. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish this whole packet off. The reason that we want to cut like this is to release both the fragrance and the flavor that is going to almost melt onto the beef roast as it's cooking. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to transfer this to this glass bowl and use this to mix up with the other spices. So this is the topping for the beef roast, okay? So this is going to go with 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, and then a teaspoon of salt and pepper each. And this is basically what is going to be pressed and like made into sort of the top crust, if you will, that's going to go onto the beef roast. If you are doing this in the Instant Pot, if you are doing this in the slow cooker, or if you're doing it in a roasting pan, it doesn't matter. It's going to work. This is basically the topping crust. The chives are a little bit wet, so they'll hold on to some of the spices there, but that's okay. So we're going to set this aside. This is going to be for when we do add the meat, we will add that into right on top of the meat. Next, we need to quarter some potatoes. I'm just going to use gold potatoes. And for the slow cooker, I'm going to put these guys are not going to work. Let me see if we have too many knots. Let me see. Some of these are okay. I should have checked that before I tossed them on here. Let me pop some of these off real quick. Okay. I just bought this bag like 3 days ago. All right. Well, maybe we're going to be doing a potato-less version. I don't think I have any other small potatoes. Some of these will work. All right, so let's pretend we're doing potatoes. We're going to quarter those and put them in the bottom of the slow cooker or around the edge of the roasting pan, depending on what you're doing that. So I'm going to skip that for now, just to save time. I will probably add them after we're done. Sorry about that. Quartered potatoes, red or gold, is going to be what's next. Okay, the sauce. This is the sour cream gravy almost. It's not a gravy, it's a sauce, although it is pourable. Okay, so we're going to do a cup of sour cream with half a cup of milk. The milk is really just to thin it out and to make it a little more pourable. I'm going to switch to a whisk. That will incorporate better and easier. Then we're going to add in a tablespoon of horseradish. Give it a little kick. It's a beautiful complement to both the chives and the beef, of course. And then we're also going to add 1 teaspoon of garlic. So this is something that I will then just transfer or keep into the fridge to make, have for dinner tonight. Since I'll be slow cooking this, I'll just keep this in the fridge. I'm going to add a little extra bit because I know my husband and I will really enjoy the extra pop from the horseradish. Now the minced garlic. Let's just whisk that in. And then I'm just going to cover this and keep this in the fridge until it's time. And of course, if you're doing this for a holiday meal, you can see how pourable that is. Just put that in a gravy boat. So delicious, super easy. Pour directly onto your meat. Also is going to be a fabulous topping for potatoes, whether you do baked potatoes or quarter potatoes and cook along with this. Oh, I forgot the chives. This is why there's 2 boxes of chives. Oh, Erin, those potatoes, the potato error really threw me off. Throwing me off my game today. All right, so let's run our knife through here. So the chive flavor combo is going to be, of course, on the meat that we cook. We're going to get that going in the slow cooker in just a second. I'm holding my knife very strangely because of my finger. It has a hard time bending. I had a surgery on my trigger finger earlier this year, and it's still gives me some trouble, including some in moments like this. Okay, so this is now the pourable gravy with the chives, the sour cream, the milk, the garlic, and the, now that's even more beautiful. All right, so we have our sauce, we have our topping. So the next thing that we need to do is to move. I'm going to actually just bring the Instant Pot insert just right over here. And again, I said because we are doing the beef roast in the Instant Pot, I'm not going to brown it because it's going to be very tender after it's cooked. Okay, so I'm just going to transfer it right in here. The fat side sometimes with the beef roast can go on top. In this case, it's going to go on the side because there's not a top side. It depends on the cut, okay? If there is a good fatty side that could be on the top, go ahead and put it on the top. Okay, let me wash up real quick. All right, if you have potatoes, this is where you would put them underneath or around the beef roast in the slow cooker. If you are cooking this meat in an Instant Pot, do not add the potatoes right now. Adding the potatoes now, you will completely, basically annihilate them because the electric pressure cooker needs longer to cook the beef than it does to cook the uh, potatoes. So you can cook the meat and then let the pressure out, add the potatoes, cook it for a couple more minutes. You can do that. Um, if you wanted to cook them in the same pot, of course, you could roast the potatoes separately as well. All right, that chive, garlic, onion that we made at the beginning is just going to go directly on top. And I'm even going to spread and kind of press this in here. Okay, so this is Budget Gourmet Holiday right here. You can see how gorgeous this is going to taste, especially with that sour cream bit on the end. The chives will release a little bit of liquid and it's just going to pour all over this beef. It's going to be so delicious. Of course, when this is finished, it will be very soft, almost shreddable. You can still slice a beef roast that's cooked in the slow cooker. Kind of have to do it carefully. I usually use two spatulas and kind of dig in to lift it out in one piece onto a cutting board. And then you can, slice from there. So in the slow cooker, we're going to cook this on low for 8 hours. Of course, I already have this fabulous sauce that we mixed up. This is the sour cream, almost gravy. You can see how loose that is. It'll be easy to pour right onto the meat. So slow cooking, we're going to cook this on low for 8 hours. Instant pot, I would cook this on high pressure on the manual mode for anywhere between 35 and 55 minutes. It really depends on the size of the beef roast and how thick it is. And like I said, if you were going to add potatoes to the Instant Pot, add that after the beef is cooked for 4 to 5 minutes more in the pressure cooker to cook the potatoes, or you could cook them separately. You can add the potatoes here in the slow cooker, and those will just cook alongside the beef, take on all these delicious chive garlic flavors as well. If you were going to cook this in a roasting pan, what you would do is brown all the sides in a skillet with some oil, and then transfer to a roasting pan, mix up the same topping that you see here, the garlic and the onion, the salt and pepper and chives, press that directly onto the top side of the beef, just like you see here. And then you will roast that in your oven at 350 for about 2 hours. You might set the clock for an hour and 45. Again, it's going to depend. The cooking time is going to depend on the size of the roast, so you'd want to check a temperature on it. Maybe after about an hour and 45 minutes, you're looking for 150 or a little more on your meat thermometer, or cooked to your liking. The time and the temperature is really up to you when you're roasting in the oven. So there's the 3 ways that you can cook the beef roast. We have this slow cooker way, which, as you can see, is super quick and easy. I've got a very busy afternoon coming up today. This actually works out perfectly for me today, but also would be really great. You could start this. You could also cook this on high for 4 to 6 hours if you were making this for a holiday meal where you're eating at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So this would be something you could also cook the morning of your meal if you're doing sort of this budget to gourmet holiday option as well. So that is my chive crusted beef roast. Real quick recap, 2 to 3 pound beef roast. Or more if you need it, depending on how many guests you are serving. Small potatoes, not ones that need to be worked with here. I need to get these knots off. I'll do that here in a minute. Then you could quarter those, or if they're small enough, you could just put them into the slow cooker or the roasting pan whole, depending on how large they are. Then we mixed up a little box of chives, chopped all that up, mixed with 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of salt and pepper each. That is the topping that you see here on there. That's right there. Then slow cooking low for 8 hours. You could also do high 4 to 6 hours, depending on the time you plan to eat your meal. The other option is about 2 hours in a roasting pan in the oven at 350. Getting that cooked to your liking and following the temperature of a meat thermometer, getting to about 150 internal temperature of the meat. Instant Pot, you could cook this on high manual pressure mode for 35 to 55 minutes. Big time range there is going to depend on the size of the beef roast that you're using. If you cook it and then after 40 minutes and you put in the meat thermometer and it's just not as cooked as you'd like, you can of course put the lid back on and continue to pressure cook it that way. So there's the 3 cooking options. We also mixed up, let me show you real quick before I switch back. We mixed up the sour cream gravy, if you will. This is 1 cup of sour cream with half a cup of milk, a tablespoon of horseradish, a tablespoon of garlic, minced garlic, and also 1 of the packets of chives all chopped up. You can see those there. Of course, you can add a little salt and pepper to taste, even after you've poured it onto your meat. At the end, you can add a little touch of salt and pepper if you need to. So I'm all about the budget gourmet, especially around the holidays. I think it's just nice to eat a little extra fancy at home. This is going to cost still half as much as if you were going out for dinner, maybe a little more than a $5 dinner, especially nowadays with meat prices the way they are. I did address that in a video on the page here earlier this week, and you could find that under the videos tab. There's also a podcast version of that. If you listen on the podcast players to the Erin Chase Show, you can hear that there as well. Really just trying to help you kind of reset your mindset and the way you're thinking about grocery shopping as we navigate this season of inflated grocery prices, especially meat prices. All right, my friends, that's it for this week's episode of the Dinner Made Easy Show. Next week, we'll be back Tuesday and Thursday with the Erin Chase Show and the Dinner Made Easy Show. I look forward to seeing you then. And for now, have a great rest of your day, a lovely weekend, and we'll see you soon.